Welcome back, Spiffers. It's good to see you again. This is Jamie Woodhouse, CEO and founder of SaaS Educators with the Salesforce Spiff Tip of the Week this week. Hope everyone's been having a good time with these videos. Again, leave comments for topics that you want to learn more about or things that you have questions about, and I can kind of break it down into some bite-sized tips and tricks. Today, we're going to be talking about understanding data filters. So what are data filters and how do we actually use them within Spiff? Well, that's what we're going to get into. So let's get started. As we go into our Spiff system, the way that we get into data filters is through Designer. So when we go up and click on Designer, it brings us to our plans with our payout rules. And here we just want to go ahead, I'm going to move myself over. And we're going to go to the data tab in the upper left by plans here. And it defaults to the fields, but we want to look at the filters. So let's go ahead and go to data filters. Now, the way that data filters work is that this is a way to filter your data down. That's why they're called the data filters. So that when you are starting to build the population that you want to pay commissions off of, this is where you start. This is where you start with the data. Once you get everything loaded into Spiff and you want to start filtering it down to just the deals you want to pay commissions on, that's what data filters are used for. I like to use an example of Excel. You guys are all experts in Excel. I am amazed with commission admins. You guys know Excel way better than I will, than anyone I've ever seen. You guys are Excel magicians, and I'm very, very impressed by you. So what we're going to do is talk about Excel and basically what we're trying to do with these data filters. So with Excel, let's say I've got data here. It's just a blank data spreadsheet. But let's say that I wanted to filter this down to just show me everything that was closed in October, everything that has a region of East, and that was actually done by a specific BDR. I guess these are BDR deals. So I want to know by the BDR what was closed in the period and that are in the East region. Well, how do we do that in spreadsheet? Well, the data filters work very similar to this. I just want you to get in the mindset of how we do it with spreadsheets. So if I wanted to filter on all of this data that I've got here, and it's just rows and rows and rows of data of all of these BDR deals. If I wanted to focus on just the deals that I closed in October, I would go to the close date. Okay, I'd click on the down arrow here to be able to select my filters, and I would just go ahead and deselect everything and only select October. All right, so that gives me all of the deals closed in October. I can see down here, sorry, it's very small. I can zoom in everywhere but here, that out of the 436 records I have, 27 of them were closed in October. Well, I wanted to only see the East region, so I scroll over and I find my region column. Well, I can go ahead and filter down and just deselect all and select my East region. So that gives me now 19 out of 436. All right, finally, we get to the BDR, and I just want to focus on the specific BDRs. I only want to see Brenda's, so I go to my filter, I deselect all, and I go to Brenda. And that shows me that she closed 6 deals in the month of October in this data that I have in the East region. Data filters work exactly the same. What we're going to do is we're going to filter at one column or one data point at a time, and then we will combine all those together to get to our final data filter. And that's exactly how these data filters work. So let's switch back to Spiff. I have uploaded this data, the same exact data that I have in, it was called BDR deals. The tab in my Excel spreadsheet when I uploaded it shows up as BDR deals. This is the exact same data. I have 436 total deals, just like I had in my spreadsheet. All right, so now I want to filter. Let's focus on the same filters that we're doing. If I want to filter by the dates that I'm closed, that's one filter that I'm going to build. We're going to build a filter for each column. We call these building blocks, where we create these small building blocks that we can use over and over again. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to filter by close date. So how I do that is under my BDR deals, I click on the 3 dots to the right of it, and I create a new filter. This filter I will just call BDR in period. So I know that this is going to give me all of these BDR deals that were closed in the period. Let me scooch over again. I'm going to go down here. Hopefully you can see everything you need to with me over here. Over on the right-hand side is where I have my guided editor, where I can choose the field that I want to filter on. So which field do I want to filter on? The close date. So I go ahead and look for the close date. I can either start typing in close date, or I can search for it, and it will show me the filters of what I'm typing. I want to do the close date. Now, the thing that's a little different with date fields is we have these nice options for you, where you can choose, is it within something? Is it greater than, less than, equal to, whatever you want to do. But since I want to focus on just the deals closed in the period that I have selected, if I have October selected, I just want to say it's is within, and then it gives me the options to choose for the current period, previous period, calendar months, if that's different than your periods, fiscal months, and quarters, if you want to do it in a fiscal way. But I just want to do current period. Hit the blue check mark. That will then tie it to my pickers up at the top here. So I can go ahead and select October in my date picker up at the top. And notice that I've got my 27 deals that were closed in the month of October. I can't remember if I said 27 in the spreadsheet or not. Maybe I just couldn't see the exact number there. But this is what we want. So the next row, what do I want to filter on? Okay, I don't have to come back and look at all the data, but I'm going to. So I'm going to go ahead and look for the region __ C, and filter on that one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose a new filter. Call this one is East region. Be as descriptive as you can so you know how to use it. Since this is BDR data, maybe I should have put BDR is East region, but I'm just going to keep it at that. I select the field that I want to filter down on. So I look for region. And I want that to be equal to East. All right, I hit the blue check mark to double check that it's just a East region. I can kind of gut check. All of my Wests are filtered out, so I think that's working just the way that I want it to. So that's one difference going from the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet kind of builds off of each other, where here with data filters, we're just doing one at a time, but I'll show you how to join them all together here in just a second. So final filter we want to do is we want everything closed by a specific BDR. So looking at the data again, I've got two fields, the BDR as well as the BDR ID. Back in my spreadsheet, I filtered by BDR just because I don't have their unique identifiers, their IDs memorized. So I filtered by the BDR field. But when we're actually working within Spiff, you always want to filter on unique identifier fields as much as you possibly can. If you've got a unique identifiers, they're going to filter more accurately. If we filter off of names, there could be misspellings, including the middle initial, not including the middle initial, and so it can be problematic. So I want to filter by the IDs, since Spiff actually knows the unique identifiers of all of my reps already in the system. So last filter, I'm going to add this new filter. I'm going to filter on my BDR ID, type in BDR, shows me all my BDRs. And then I want this to be equal to, and I go ahead and just type in the word rep. When I use the word rep, this goes to our user table within Spiff. And so you notice that I can actually filter off of my user's full name in the rep table or in the user table, the rep ID, last successful login, a couple of different things. I want the ID. When we are uploading all of our users, typically from Salesforce, we have their unique identifiers. The data that's coming across has those unique identifiers that specify the user within Salesforce. So we're going to use that same. So I go ahead and choose rep ID. I hit the blue check mark. Always remember the blue check mark to save that. I've done that many times where I forget to save. I forgot to name the filter. So I'm just going to call this one BDR or by BDR. By BDR. And I notice that now it is tied to this picker. So if I've got Brenda selected in my top pickers, then I've got her ID selected and it should show her name in the data as well. If I wanted to change it to Byron, it changes it to Byron Stills and works through that. All right, final thing, trying to keep this 5 minutes for the tip. Hopefully you can kind of rewatch this if I went a little too fast on some areas, is I just want to combine all three of these together so I can get my final numbers. So I go ahead and I do one last new filter. This time, I'm just going to call this one for the full amount, for the full population, closed by BDR in period East. That way I know that this filter gives me all of my BDRs that they closed in the period in the East. And then I just select the filters that I have by BDR. Add another condition. I also want it to be BDR in period. And finally, is East. By default, it ands all these together, meaning that it has to meet all of these criterias. I can switch this to an or if I want to, but in our case, we want to do an and because we want it to filter based off of all three of those. Hit the blue check mark. It actually gives me the data behind the scenes so I can gut check it. But now when I'm in October for Brenda, I can see that I've got the 6 deals here, and I can go back to my spreadsheet that I uploaded, see that it's the same 6 deals, and I can actually gut check and see that data to make sure that it's filtered correctly. So that's a quick kind of understanding of why we use data filters within Spiff. It's just like in a spreadsheet where you're trying to take data in different columns, filter it down to get it down to the population to where you want to pay commissions from is off of those deals. And you do it one column at a time. A building block approach makes it a lot cleaner, and I can use that same by BDR or the BDR in period on multiple filters that I'll create in the future because those are very similar or very common ones that I want to use, and it works really well because if I make a mistake, all I have to do is just change that one building block, and it will update it for everyone that's using that building block instead of just building one big filter that does all of those things all together at once. It's nice to be able to reuse things so you don't have to keep rebuilding the same, in the current month, in the current period, or the BDR equals the rep ID. You don't want to keep doing that over and over again. Might as well build it once as a building block and use it over and over again. That's my tip of the week for this week. Thanks everybody for joining. Again, go to www.saseducators.com. The link is below in the comments. And look and see where I'm coming next. I'm coming to a city near you. I do seminars for Salesforce Spiff across the country, and thinking about going into English-speaking places in Europe. But you guys are going to have to request that in order to get me to come out there. But I'm definitely willing to and excited to come to where you are and help you understand Spiff. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you.